Senate. But most importantly, ever since he arrived in the House, he put himself on the line in the name of freedom for Iran and Iran's people. When the Iranian people were forced into exile, the NCRI and MEK, into Iraq, literally put into concentration camps, he was there to support them and demand that they be free. And when they were moved to Albania, to Camp Ashraf, he became one of the Congress's greatest voices to protect their rights and to protect their freedoms and to give them hope that their diaspora and days in exile will soon end. Senator, you've been an inspiration to everyone in this audience, and we're grateful for you for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Ambassador. It's good to be here with you and Ambassador Brownback and Ambassador Sands. Going to have more members of the Congress come, and if they don't get here today, it's not because we don't continue to have the kind of support. There are three people I want to introduce here who have worked with me, House and Senate, and now on these issues. And if you three would stand, that way if people want to talk to one of us before we get away today, that would be good. Richard Eddings, go ahead, stand up, Richard. Brian Diffel and Ali Arahushman are actively involved in trying to be sure that we create a sense of what we need to do to have a democratic government in Iran. And since it's reminded today, we had the first meeting we had that was similar to this meeting was in 2012 in this room. It was my second year in the Senate. And I was also reminded I walked in with the 8 people on the panel, which were Senator Lieberman and Patrick Kennedy and other people who were here and continue to be helpful, in Senator Lieberman's case, through his lifetime. I can't think of a year since 2012 when more has changed than from last year to this year. Many things have changed, many things remain, need to be determined. Of the things that have changed, the leadership in Iran has been decimated, been targeted, identified, eliminated in a way we wouldn't have anticipated. The weakness of a heavily surveilled society, I think, became available to the understanding of the Iranians and, frankly, other surveilled societies around the world. If you have a surveilled society and a capable adversary, that capable adversary can also use your own surveillance system to surveil you. And I'm absolutely sure that was what was happening before we did the things that we have done in Iran in the last weeks, figuring out who people were, figuring out the atrocities they'd committed, and seeing that a change was made. The biggest problem the regime faces is that sustained internal opposition that Ambassador Ginsburg did such a good job talking about. And these photos behind me today are more evidence of that. Also, when you look at the photos, while some people in the story are almost my age, most of the people are way less than my age. They're young Iranians born since 1979, some long since 1979, who no longer want to tolerate the kind of country they have been forced to grow up in. Many things remain the same. Iran's still controlled by a toxic secular regime that doesn't allow any kind of freedom. The IRCG, while weakened, still continues their repressive structure to not allow freedom in the society and be the enforcement agency for the Ayatollahs and others. The regime continues to focus on decimating any internal resistance. So those things are as they have always been. Thousands have been murdered. Mrs. Rajavi held up a book that said that had 20,000 names in it. I am confident we don't know all of the names. And so we continue to see that. The MEK in Iran continues to resist. I've been told, though the regime doesn't want to talk about this incident, that 250 MEK attacked the Khomeini headquarters. 100 of them were killed or captured, and I firmly believe the ones that were captured were likely then killed later and are not included in the names of people we understand have given their life for a future of freedom. And I thought, at my age, I'd understand Senator Ambassador Ginsburg's view. These people are not 80 years old making a final stand, looking at a few years of life before them. They are people who, at young ages, refuse to concede the future of their country, even if it costs them their life. The United States clearly led and been part of a devastating attack on the regime, more successful than anyone would have imagined in changing those in control. The blockade, if sustained, and we do have the power to sustain that blockade longer than the Iranians have the power to withstand it, will bring the regime economically to their knees. I read in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago, the estimate is that in 2 weeks, the oil fields will have to shut down because everywhere they have to put oil will be filled up in 2 weeks. The other things that come out of the Gulf that sustain their regime will no longer be coming out of the Gulf. I think the message here is don't quit too soon. Don't quit until we've achieved the goals that at this moment are achievable. The weakness of our position would be in a democratic society, what is often your weakness, looking for somebody you can negotiate with. There are no moderates to be found in the regime. We're always looking for moderates in the regime. We have never found them yet. And in fact, in the Washington Post today, there was an article that talked about the fact that the regime has once again found its best and most beloved negotiating position, which is we are about to reach an agreement. They can sustain we are about to reach an agreement forever if we allow it to be sustained forever, and we should not allow that. For administration after administration, decade after decade, we've been looking for Iranians that always give the idea that, well, we're about to come to a conclusion. They publicly announced we agreed on many things. We never seem to have agreed on many things, and they never agree on the things they said they agreed on. It's time we learned that lesson, and I hope we do. There should be no guarantees in any agreement with the regime that we in any way will stand by and affirm the regime. They should not be affirmed. The number one thing we should be negotiating on, in my view, would be to stop the executions now. To stop the killing of protesters now, and understand that during all this time, we have had one group in Iran that has led the consistent effort. They continue to do that. The NCRI has outlined a proposed structure of what that interim government should look like, with an emphasis on interim. A government that provides enough stability to quickly get to democratic, free and fair elections, and a government that is committed to democracy. The 10 principles in the 2006 plan are exactly that, 10 consistent principles in a plan that has now been out there for 2 decades for people to look at, and that NCRI has been talking about for 2 decades, and Madam Rajavi talked about again today. This is no time to lose the ground we have seen gained in Iran, and gained by the forces that have been attacking the regime externally, and the incredible individuals that have been attacking the regime internally. Hopefully, if we see the kind of changes in the next year that we've seen in the last year, a year from now, we'll be looking at an Iran that has a much different future for all its people and for all the people that care about its people. Thanks for letting me be here.